welcome to another episode of Bennessy Draws. So today we're going to finish what we started last week. Give me this. I did a quick. Oh, sounds like my music has just died. And let's just turn that off altogether if that's the case. No, there we go. We'll keep going. Like it never happened. Without planning on it. What is going on? I think I know what's going on. I'm pressing a button. There we go. Hey, don't tell anybody. So I did a quick kind of sketch of the background that we're going to put in. Similar idea to what I was talking about at the start of the stream last week. I thought this needed more than the kind of spotlight I was going to give it. I think it would look kind of boring. This will be far more interesting. And just in terms of technique as well, I'll talk about what I'm kind of doing here. This isn't adhering to any kind of 1 point or 2 point perspective or anything like that. I'm very much using big, medium, small motifs to make sure that the idea of a background receding is all there, and everyone should be able to pick up what's going on. I'll turn the music down because I feel like it was drowning me out. If the music does that tonight, if it does drown me out when you are trying to hear me talk about what I'm doing, please just let me know. I'll turn it off like I have done before. And we'll even just get into this, will we? Yeah, let's just get into this. As always, if you do manage to find me for the first time, this is all new to you. My name is Ben. I've been illustrating, drawing comics, working in animation, graphic design for 16 years now. And I do this every week, every Wednesday. You can find more about me and my work on my website, Bennessy.com, and with prints. You can buy some comics. There's 1 or 2 trades of Godfell on it. It's not on the website yet, but I'll hopefully get up this weekend with a bunch of these prints that I've been doing on the Bennessy Draw stream. You can also book commissions there through a portal. Thank you very much for all the commissions that have come in recently. Actually, I don't know what's happened. The last few weeks, I've just had commission after commission come in. So what I'm going to do with the stream here is I'm going to bump up those commissions as long as I have permission to use them on the stream. So commissions that are a likeness of somebody, I have to get permission for, or if it's not a surprise for someone, I make sure they're not ruining it on somebody. I'll be drawing them live here. And it'll vary from very detailed things like this to similar to what I just talked about, what I wouldn't do on these guys. I didn't want the spotlight, but I booked my commissions as characters. It goes up if there's multiple characters, and it goes up again if there's very detailed backgrounds. So you get to see me tackle that in real time as well. We didn't do an Ozpod last night. We'll be back again next week, and release it tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week, Tuesday at 9 o'clock GMT. And Dave and I will have a lot to talk about because this show will be wrapping up next week. And I've really enjoyed where it's gone. Yeah, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. There's so far there's strange choices made with the script, character developments, all that kind of stuff. But like any good mystery, it has us kind of looking for more. And as we get revealed some information, we get more questions to ask of the showrunners and that as well. So with that in mind, I'm still really enjoying it. I think it's really done a lot of great stuff and fun stuff to the Star Wars canon. I hope we get to see more of this guy. I think he's great. And May as well. I think she's been one of the more fun things I've drawn over the last while. Something about drawing these Star Wars characters, lots of fun. Those character designers know what they're doing, obviously. So why don't we get into this? Let me just do a quick scan of where I'm at here. What have I got to show you? So I should have kept that there. I had like trees and leaves kind of set into one layer there, so I could always reference what I was trying to draw from. But we have the piece I drew last week, I left the saber quite plain because I'm probably going to draw less of the saber, if you get me, and it's probably going to be more cut out of what goes in around it because it's a beam. We'll get that kind of flair that the lightsaber has. I have one very rough thing that I was trying to scribble out. Thought it might have been too scribbly for me for the stream, and did this shortly after. It's a bit more definite. I kind of know where my shapes are going, my spot blacks are going. This was the previous pencils I did that I inked over last week, and they were the inks I did last week. So I always copy, and what I've done before, I wouldn't just start editing it because I might change my mind and want to go back to something, so I give myself the option. So we have this, we have background, my pencils are on a different layer so they're not interrupting or interfering with these guys. I'm going to have a lot going on here with foreground, midground, background. There's going to be some foreground stuff that comes in over May and the Stranger. I'll keep calling him that in case there's people here who haven't seen him or know who he is or what he is yet. But that said, I think I'm going to go ahead now and just get straight into this. And I'm going to go foreground to background. So we'll start bottom corner here and work our way up to the top right. And not even, I might just work with foreground elements and just work backwards. Because what I have here is, this is going to be a spot black, well, not spot black, but it's going to be like kind of a blacked out frame capture May and the Stranger in the center here, and this one slightly behind that is going to do the same kind of thing. And then, not to have them out front of everything, I have dark blades of grass that are going to go in here. Yeah, so now let's get to it. We are going to turn down this so I can kind of see my blades of grass here and what I want to do with them. Because it might be fun just to invert parts of this. I'm going to find out in a second. Again, lots of things to do with the stream here is me fitting this in around everything else. So like sometimes there is no time and I spend about the first 20 minutes of the stream saying I didn't plan this, I just kind of had to get going. So I just got going. Very similar here with this one, but it is a bit more planned as I got a good chunk of this done last week and had a good idea of how I was going to frame them last week as well. If you didn't see last week's stream, after tonight, you can go check out the YouTube channel or the Twitch channel, and they should still be there. I don't think Twitch has the same kind of archive that YouTube does, but YouTube certainly has all my live shows under the live option on the Bennessy channel. I think it's Bennessy's art on YouTube. So if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, give me all that social goodness. I remember just maybe it was a month ago now, I realized that all the characters I have been drawing on the stream were actually Marvel characters. That was a pure accident. That was not deliberate at all. And then I said I would spend the latter half of the year working on DC characters. And since I kind of got a bunch of commissions in now, that won't happen. I'll be working on the commissions. But some of those commissions are DC characters. So I only kind of lied. I know the show got a bit of slack for the set it had when they were in the forest. I kind of like the forest. Like, yes, things looked a little strange, but it's an alien planet. I can kind of get along with that. In fact, I kind of want that kind of stuff. It's one of the things I kind of go to or look to Star Wars for or direction on, you know. But really enjoying the show. I saw today's episode, and I think we all kind of expected the flashback. You know what really happened to May and Osha, and we got that. And I love how this series has just painted the Jedi as just bad guys. They just have done the wrong thing. They're as prone to the seduction of the dark side as they warn everyone else about. They're no different. They're not in any way special about it. If you're not doing your homework, the dark side will get you. And it's really been a great guessing game as to who is who really. You know, this stranger. What is his background? I have theories. I think he's. I don't know if I said before, but I think he could be like a kind of a member of that witch coven, but because it was witches and he's a guy, I believe he might have been abandoned or something like that. Or we have a feeling through some of the dialogue, not the latest episode, but the previous one, that he was previously a Jedi, and maybe Vernestra was his master. And having a Padawan seems to be some kind of level of status among the Jedi. Similar to what the stranger wants. He wants an Acolyte. Someone to learn the ways of the Sith. If it's actually the Sith that we're seeing. We could be seeing the start of the Knights of Ren. Who knows? It's all guesswork. It's all up in the air. Like every good mystery really should be leaving things. Hey, thanks for checking in. I'm good. Pretty good. Thanks. Thanks for joining in, man. Or Robin. Oh, man. Thanks for joining the show. Star Wars fan? Or I'm pretty old. Doing my best here to kind of honor that weird forested grasses and trees that were in the show. I don't want it like looking just like our one. It kind of looks a bit kind of amphibious almost. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Are you an artist as well? I love this about the sketchbook program. The ability to rotate like this. Oh, that's really cool. Thanks. I'll tell you what, if you do something for streamers and gamers, if you go here, you'll find my email address, all the kind of details to contact me whatsoever, you know, all the stuff you need. And if you do stuff for streamers and gamers, catch me there, and we can talk about stuff. That'll be cool. What I'm going to do with a lot of these shapes is I'm going to use that grunge brush, the kind of dry brush type thing that I use quite often for some texture on the bark of the tree, that kind of stuff. Just so things don't feel so sterile and kind of boring. You know, I kind of want the stuff to have a bit of life to it. So I won't get that if I stay with my kind of Sharpie digital nib here. I'll have to change it up a little bit. And again, as I kind of talked about last week, always kind of drawing from the shoulder where possible. I think I'm getting spammed out of it here. You can contact me. All those details are on Bennessy.com. Thank you. I try to keep the leaves that I'm drawing kind of gestural, because I kind of feel like it's more aesthetic, it's more pleasing, it just looks a bit nicer. That's it. That's the only reason. If you think my stuff looks quite chunky or kind of weird, I was working on I think a cover actually one day, for Carrie and Rufus, and kind of found that In one of my kind of preliminary sketches, the gesture I left down on one of the leaves was just really appealing, and I kind of tried to keep it into my inks if it was possible. And kind of been doing that since, doing that for some time now. These little lines here, I'm going to put them in. They're not something I'm going to swear by religiously like I usually would the rest of my line quality. They're going to inform how I use my texture work later. The leaves themselves, I could almost have them done with a paint bucket. But as I keep saying, I try to avoid the paint bucket because you'll end up with something quite sterile and kind of just not so appealing. There's reasons for it, like as I said when I was drawing Ben Grimm and his spandex is kind of a shiny material, so I think the paint bucket has a place there. But otherwise, I kind of feel like you can be missing out on potential opportunity to add some indication of volume or texture, especially texture. It's kind of important. Let's everyone kind of know what this thing is. I talked about like last week again. Mike Mignola is probably the master of it because he'll inform texture to an audience by 3 or 4 marks on a page. He doesn't need to render them as tightly as I do. He can kind of let fly, and it's amazing. Someone else is really good at that kind of developing their own visual language is John Romita Jr. There's nothing he can't draw that doesn't feel right and suit the world that he's rendering. It always looks like a John Romita Jr. piece too. He's one of my faves. I think this is the first time I've done a background, like a proper background on them on the show. Usually it's a hint at something or bits of a thing. Like I had like a Vader on top of a ship and a hint of some kind of desert in the background. I find that drawing the characters to be my fun place. I know for others it can be getting into backgrounds and rendering them to crazy amount of detail, but there's a time and a place in that for me. But for the most part, it's the characters I enjoy drawing. And if you're like me and the characters are your kind of jam and not so much the background, it's important then to kind of find some fun in the background so you can make it nice. Backgrounds are a great opportunity to add some character to your place, even though you're not drawing characters. Quite a bit of what I'm going to do here on the background tonight will be with the eraser, cutting out bits to leave some kind of detail in, that kind of stuff. It's going to be a bit of a game of drawing with the eraser as much as I do with the nib tonight. So usually I do like a week on, a week off, of like a week on the odds and then a week of something like this. But it's kind of struck me as I ended the stream last week that it probably makes more sense to do 2 weeks of this, considering something like this will take me 2 weeks to finish. So I kind of get it all done in one block and then spend the remaining 2 weeks then working on the odds. Kind of like how I did the first odds cover. I'm going to tackle the second, and that'll probably take 2 streams as well. I would be breaking records, I think, if I was to be able to draw a fully finished cover in less than 2 hours. Generally takes me about 6 to 8 hours to do a cover. So yeah, I will be keeping it, and hopefully within 4 hours of inking for the show. There'll be some penciling done off screen. Like here, you might see a little difference in the Stranger's lightsaber. It's different than the one I drew last week, just because I realized the reference I was using was just not quite all the way there. The one I found today was a bit better. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna get that brush that I talked about. If it'll let me. There we go. This guy. I'll come back to that brush after I take out these little bits of these little shapes. There's certain details I want to leave in this tree, just to make sure I'm informing a volume, and I'll do that before. Actually, maybe I'll do it here real quick first. I think I'm coming to a stage where I need to change the nib on my pen. It's doing that thing where it's not selecting what I'm telling it to. Okay, so kind of want this pretty close to just all out black, but not entirely. Speckle brush here. These are all default sketchbook brushes. I talked about this last week when my friend joined in for a quick chat. I don't go to the bother of making brushes anymore because I will go into a studio, then I'll spend some time installing the brushes, and sometimes they have a set of brushes they want you to stick with, so there is no point in using those brushes, and this is just a better way to go about it. If you can use the standard brush set in any program, you have nothing to worry about when you have to get out of the office, out of the studio, and and use whatever they have to put in front of you. Uh, things are not always going to go according to plan when you start leaning too heavily on a certain rough set, which, can happen really easily. I know I could get the lasso tool and just cut out the shapes and delete here. Um, to be honest, I think I'd be just as quick doing this. Got a message there from Dave from the Odds Pod. Just checking it out there. Wondering if it was urgent. Hi, Dave. Okay, that's good. Go back into this and start cutting out these shapes. Don't worry about going in or outside the lines on these. It's not going to matter too much. Just try to get the essence of what you had planned out initially, and you should still be fine. I wouldn't go to your magic wand and start selecting the shape and deleting, because it'll leave you with a kind of there'll be a little bit of a pixelated line on what you're working on, and it'll leave your stuff looking a little, again, kind of sterile and boring. I will go back in over these kind of cutout shapes that I'm doing with the speckle brush I just used, and add some texture onto these shapes as well. They won't just be plain white. Just no need to be too sparing with the with that kind of splatter speckle thing. All right, so we're getting our frame together here quite nice. Gonna merge them now. Good. Gonna work on the left side of the image first, purely out of habit, I guess. I usually go top to bottom, left to right. force a habit from like working on like traditional media. You know, I never wanted to smudge the page with my ink line, so I still find myself doing that habit of trying to avoid my hand ruining the image and inking digitally top to bottom, left to right. Anyone else do that? Weird kind of habits from one media that have made themselves a kind of a staple rule of yours in another media? For those who use the newsletter, there'll be something going out this week. Update in regards to what's been sold on the website, and a code for people who want to buy stuff off the website at a cheaper rate. So if prints like this, there'll be original materials going up as well. If you want to sign up to the newsletter, it's at Bennessy.com. I'm gonna keep hitting that website tonight, I guess. Not usually something I keep banging on about, but tonight it just kind of keeps coming up. I guess because it's playing to what I'm doing. But yeah, if you feel like print or commission, or you want to get some OG first edition prints of Godfell with a remark, you'll find them on my website. So similar to what I talk about posing your characters, you want to avoid twinning. Same kind of for your backgrounds, unless you're kind of going that deliberate Wes Anderson or Mook route, where you want something deliberately symmetrical. I've often used it myself, but I'm not just having another tree on the other side of the image framing them. This one set back a little bit. It's not going to be as shadowed, but it'll help lead our eye straight down to our two characters. I'm going to just draw the tree for the time being. I'll edit things around the lightsaber later. You won't see much ruler in this background. It's going to be mostly freehand. I want things to feel very organic. I won't get that if I start leaning on the ruler. I prefer that as well, actually. Like, I like the ruler in sketchbook. You've heard me say it often enough, because it's one of those programs where the ruler lets you lean on your ability to give yourself some line quality instead of that dead, plain digital line you can get in other programs. But like when I'm just drawing trees and stuff, it's great just to lean on freehand skills more. I often try to lean on it when I'm drawing cars and stuff, but it never really feels right. And the more I use a ruler on a car, the more the car feels like I've drawn it properly. A kind of man-made, a pre-made look. Taking the ruler out, I always kind of feel is a bit, takes me out of my process a bit. Give me a forest setting any day of the week, I guess. You know what? I'm not really happy with how I had that tree come in at the end there. It looked weird. Should really be getting wider. And now I've created a horrible tangent. Get out of here, tangent. No one loves you. This would need to come in a bit bigger. That will need to be a little shorter. Always watching tangents. I usually do a tangent sweep at the end of the image, but it doesn't hurt to take them off when you can plainly see them as well. But you can see the fallout of making a decision like that, what it changes. These are all kind of things you must be paying attention to and looking out for when you deviate from your initial sketch. And you probably will deviate from the sketch, especially when you're on the Bennessy stream, where I never give myself enough time to truly figure out what it is I'm going to draw. These things happen. Don't get so married to your initial sketch that it hurts the image. That's no good. It does nobody any good in any way. Don't be one of those guys that tries to fix it in post. Fix it then and there. Here we go. Now I'll get back to this branch. Thanks for stopping by tonight, guys. There's great numbers very early on in the show tonight. Thank you. Horrible branch. Get that right. There we go. Again, you're not just kind of flatting shapes onto a thing. You're trying to reinforce a volume and a shape of something. Keep that in mind. Don't just fall into a space of mind where you're just following your very rough pencils. Make sure that you are getting the volume of the tree or whatever it is you're drawing correct. And remember, I often say it on the stream, really go for whatever it is you're going to do. You'll get marks for being brave about your mark making. You won't get marks if you play it a little too safe. You can end up with something that's neither here nor there. At least if you go hard on it and you get it wrong, you will know next time not to do that. Excuse me. I love drawing trees. There's a place where I live called Johnstown Castle, and it has these incredible gardens. And when I was first trying to figure out all this stuff, and I was in college, trying to develop my own style, and didn't really know how to go about doing that. You can't force that, by the way. It's something that's going to just naturally happen. The more you practice, the more it'll just kind of just by osmosis, by taking in everything you possibly can, you'll eventually develop a kind of a language that's your own. And I didn't know that at the time, and I was obsessed with trying to put in as much drawing as I possibly could. And I spent ages drawing trees, the castle. At the time when I was in college, I was still I don't like that line there. At the time when I was in college, I was still 3D modeling and sculpting, that kind of stuff as well. And so I was taking photos of brick and stone and trying to use that as textures, and yeah. But Johnstown Castle was a great place to go for that kind of reference. It was great to do some figure studies too, because that was kind of, again, as I said, I always kind of found drawing people to be far more fun than drawing backgrounds. And there's usually lots of people there walking. It's a great place to get your figure studies in. Haven't done figure studies in ages, actually. I should get back to it. That was something I really enjoyed doing, and I think it pays off very quickly in terms of helping you out, forming your style. You build up a pose reference far quicker, I think, doing that than anything else. I've kind of said it now on a few podcasts, especially when Godfell was coming out, and I don't reference from still images as much as I used to, because I kind of found that it was giving me very stiff poses. Coming from storyboarding and animation, and having to record yourself acting out things, I found that pays off in the long run for your poses too. There was moments where I'd be trying to draw a character who's enraged, and I'd be getting into this pose, drawing every finger twisting differently to make him look so angry, and I kind of found very quickly that the pose didn't register that kind of feeling, didn't convey what I wanted it to convey. And it was only when I went back to I was actually chatting to a mate of mine who reminded me of something Steven Silver says about recording yourself acting it out. And I went, God, I used to do that for boards. Why don't I do it for this? And there's not a panel in the odds. There's not a panel past issue 2 of Godfell where the reference material I made of myself wasn't from a still in a video. It showed me a few things. I didn't realize that instead of drawing every digit in a finger twisting to really convey the sense of anger and frustration, your hand actually kind of stays of one shape almost. It doesn't really separate and go into different planes of existence. And it was a real learning curve, but I wouldn't have got that if I had kept up working off still images. So every day is a school day. Even stuff when it's something you have to relearn, you might have forgotten about. It's take it on the chin and get to it. I don't know why I'm drawing that when the saber's going to go over it. I don't really want just hitting that line. I know it's very close to it. Again, I'll do a line sweep at the end, and thicken or thin or taper anything that needs doing at that point. It's easy to miss it when you're in the middle of it all, and it's very easy to miss it when you're talking and drawing. Weird, you wouldn't think talking and drawing to be a difficult thing to do, but lo and behold, it is. Okay. Put some marks on those a bit later. And I want to get into this tree like I did the other one just a second ago. Okay, new layer, get that lovely brush out again. Stay with this one for a little bit first because it's a smaller area. And then I'll remove some of the black with the other brush. Get a bit smaller because I had it massive on the other tree. Doesn't matter how much you remove, you're going to put some back with this now as well. You kind of just want some gradients of it, and it's the best way I can kind of mimic using like my bigger brushes, like my actual traditional bigger brushes. Getting that kind of sweep going up the page. It's longer to do that here, I think, but it does give me a bit more control over it, which is nice. But like that's the difference between going digital and traditional swings and roundabouts. I do think your proficiency in one of those areas can greatly inform the other. I don't think one weakens the other at all. I'm going to get my speckle brush out now after I nail these shapes. I kind of thought by this stage I really would have been juggling Sketchbook and Clip Studio more. I don't know why I haven't. I use both. This is without a shadow of a doubt my favorite drawing program, but I do use both. I might vary that a bit just to get people who might have questions about Clip Studio how to use that one as well. But this is it's a Sketchbook Pro. It's a fantastic drawing program. It's really simple. If you can draw traditionally, you can pick up Sketchbook Pro. There's not much learning to it. It very much lets you lean in on your traditional learning. One thing I wish it had though was the navigator window that Photoshop has. I love that window in Photoshop. It's brilliant. Like if I am painting on it or drawing on it, it allows me to keep that window open on another screen, and I'm always able to check my line weights and where they're going just by looking up and making sure everything is going the right way, because I spend so much time zoomed in. And I know folks say not to zoom in so much, and they're probably more right than I am. But this is not something I can undo at this stage. This is what I just naturally go about. Um, there's no point, I think, in fighting the tide here. If this is my instinct, I don't think it's hurting me too much, then I'm going to stick with it. If it was hurting me, I'd stop it. I'd just go cold turkey. Uh, like I talked before, that I was such a huge Humberto Ramos fan. It was getting past the point of inspiration into pure plagiarism. Unintentional. It was just happening. And I just had to put his stuff away. I put his stuff away for about a year. And then I spent my time going to Johnstown Castle, shopping centres, doing bigger studies, going to pubs and cafes, drawing people sitting down, waiting at bus stops, that kind of stuff. And after about a year of trying to teach myself to reference from life as opposed to other artists, I ended up with a style that I think is very much my own. I don't think this is like Humberto Ramos's at all anymore. Which is good, because I'm never going to be as good at drawing in that style as he is. That's his. But yeah, it's important to go and make sure that you have enough reference, I think, from real life, if you are doing any form of cartooning as well. Just allow you to come up with something that's very much uniquely your own thing. And I guarantee you there'll be a market for it. People will want to see it. You'll strike a certain chord with a certain group of people, in the same way Humberto Ramos struck one with me and most of the world by this stage. He's kind of he's a big fan favorite, isn't he? And rightfully so. He's brilliant. There's panels that he's drawn that live rent-free in my head. Like, he did a spectacular Spider-Man series of Paul Jenkins, and I think it was called Countdown, and it was a Doc Ock story versus Spidey, and we got to see like a glimpse into the childhood of young Otto Octavius and how bad that was. And when he hits a really low moment in his very young life, he's playing with a couple of toy tractors, diggers, like, and as he embraces himself in this moment of pure loneliness, he casts the shadow as he's holding his toy tractors, and it looks like the tentacles from his costume when he becomes the big bad villain. And yeah, I often think of that. Such a good visual. I'd love to sit down with him and Mr. Jenkins and find out who came up with that. Was that something they came up with on the fly, something that came up only in script, or was it something that Humberto came up with as he was planning it out and realized there was an opportunity to do something different here? I'd love to know. That's the kind of stuff that you kind of get at when you've done your homework and you kind of know where you can do something a little different. So I'm trying to inform the shape on those little lines, and I'm also not trying to have them the very same mark every time. You see some of these lines here that'll do my nut. I'm gonna have to not have the outline so much darker than the piece I was using the brush for. And always kind of draw from the shoulder. Okay, get that speckle brush out, make it an eraser, and start taking out some of those. Too much. Be a little choosy where you're planting them, and change the size so you're not always left with the same pattern, because these kind of brushes will leave you with a pattern if you're not careful. Okay, like that's going, I'll flatten that, put it all on the one, and on these parts of the tree, a little bit too. And here is a good place to use that lasso tool that I didn't use on the tree screen right there. I'll come into those now in a minute. Happy with how this is going though. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, not bad. Okay, we'll keep going. Again, I stayed quite gestural with these shapes. I was forever trying to find a nice way to draw grass, because I always kind of kept going against my instinct and didn't really like what I was doing naturally. And then I came across, I'm going to murder the word now in the title of it, I think it's Tenebrous by Vincent Mallier, and he had similar shapes and line quality for the grass that he put down. And when I kind of saw that he was doing it, I kind of leaned in a little harder on what I was doing. So now my grass looks a little bit like this. Also, it reminds me of the Sonic the comic I used to get when I was younger. Richard Elson was this amazing, still is, but he was my favorite artist on the Sonic the comic. I used to love the way he'd draw hands, and there was a certain way he'd draw grass as well. And one of those other artist things that lived rent free in my head. Now I can see a mistake in this grass here already, and it's because I was too focused on the outline of the grass instead of drawing on the inside of it, because that was the bit that was going to be seen. Um, won't do that just yet. Actually, I'll do it there. It doesn't need to be that long. But again, the kind of forests that these guys were in, like the trees were particularly chunky. So were the lightsabers actually. It could just be in my head now, but the lightsabers look particularly chunky in this series. I don't know if it's because it's set back in like an older timeline that maybe lightsabers went the way of iPhones where they got smaller. I don't know, and thinner. But I certainly noticed that they all seem like they've been slimmed down or slimmed up. Like they look awkward to hold. They're kind of chunky. Again, I'm not leaning into the paint bucket here unless I really have to. I might fill out the area almost completely, but I bet there'll be some kind of part that I'll miss that'll just add a little bit more something to it, and than just drawing an outline and using the paint bucket. Again, there's a time and a place for it. I'm not against it. I don't hate the paint bucket, but I think for something like this, I'd be missing an opportunity to really add some texture, some life, and some volume to things. Especially, as I said at the start of the show, this background specifically, you know, I clearly wasn't breaking out like my perspective for this. I didn't need it. For something like this, I'm able to fall on a use of small, medium, large to try and build that sense of depth. And it also lets me kind of do something a bit more kind of graphic, which I feel works pretty well for prints and covers. Something that allows you to have a bigger effect from a smaller color palette, I think is one thing you should really work for. Maybe less so with prints. Maybe you can get a bit more details with prints, but for comic book covers, I think if you can have a very small palette and use one particular color to really catch people's eye, I think you're already batting higher than some of the other people that will have their books on the shelves that same Wednesday that you'll be competing with. The trick after catching the eye is make sure you can kind of hold it. There's so many new books out every week. You kind of have to take out your bag of tricks Make sure your stuff competes with everyone else's and hopefully beats everyone else's. I'm just making sure the silhouette is as clear as I can make it. Anyone who's seen any of my work before might recognize some of the shapes I use in my plants, my foliage, that kind of stuff. Um, I think it's going to lend itself pretty well to the weird alien forest type thing that we saw here. Look at that tangent. That nearly got past me. There's always a bunch of tangents and line weights that I see as soon as I hang up on the stream. Like, why didn't I catch that when I was live? I think that one that I just caught there was going to be one of those things I would have missed. I have these kind of long branches, bits of leaves coming out of the top of this. So these little shapes of negative space, I'm going to put like little strands that look like some of those branches. Too big. So next week on the stream, I'm going to work on issue 2, or the cover of issue 2 of The Odds. There's a guy Dave and I keep bringing up who's going to feature very prominently on that cover. I think he's one of the strongest things about our book. It's so unbelievably messed up. I can't wait to draw it. It's been one of those things like where I think I must have come up with an idea for this cover 7 or 8 times now. Just, oh no, don't do that, I could do this instead. And I haven't really settled on one yet, so by next week I'll have settled on, and I'll go through the process as per usual, and I will also, hopefully, because it's a cover of a book that we're working on, have given myself plenty of time to do the pencils. I don't want to be doing the pencils on the show. It's tough talking and doing pencils. It's easier for me when I have a lot of the thinking done and I can just get into the inks like this. But yeah, we'll definitely be on The Odds, and it's going to take me at least 2 episodes to ink it up properly. I would love to be able to do a cover in 2 hours, but yeah, I'm just not that guy. 6 to 8 hours, done. Inks. happy with that. And we're doing good on time as well. Great stuff. Now, I said I was going to draw with the eraser a bit. I'm going to really do that here on this side. I'll edit this outline now in a sec. I just want to get the shape in first. Yeah, back. There we go. Just filling in the shape like I did on the other side. Now. No matter what I do with the nib here that I'm using, I'm not going to get the shapes that I really want. I'd be better off going straight in with the eraser. So I'm just going to black this out as much as I can, and then go into my eraser tool as soon as I have this kind of plotted out, I guess. Oh, hey Ren. Oh, no way, that's cool. Ah, thanks very much. You started streaming, you must tell people your stream. Where are we going here? Let's hit this. I'm having a quick chat. I'll make sure everyone can see this. Go give this guy a follow. He's very, very good. He's a really talented animator. But you gotta tell us, are you streaming on Twitch? Where can the people find you? Started last week. Very good. I'll have to check it out. Okay, I'm going to turn that down, and now I'm going to dig out those shapes with the eraser tool. Bear with me if I get a little quiet here. Yeah, I've really been enjoying drawing this background. It's not usually something I really enjoy usually either. Like I much prefer drawing characters, but this has been kind of fun trying to figure out where I can put in my negative base and the shapes I can kind of use to play around with this kind of alien forest. Yeah, yeah, it has been. It's been good crack. For people maybe who aren't Irish, I'm not talking about drugs. Crack, CRAIC. Kind of a fun time. Again, keeping all these shapes pretty gestural. We don't want that there too close. It looks like a tangent. We don't like tangents. Okay, turn that back up there. Let's see what we have. Turn off the rough. That's looking good. Could do with a little bit of a tidy though. No. This line and that line were a little too close for my liking. This kind of takes away some of the energy, the liveliness you can achieve. Now we'll turn back on so we know what we're doing. We're going to go up here now. Yep. Same kind of strategy as what I had done before here. I will sketch the outline, I'll fill around the outline a bit, and then I'll go back in and use my shoulder and draw in a whole bunch of straights pretty quickly. Like that last line. There we go. You can see here with that X, this was the space that was initially going to be blacked out. Had a change of heart when I got further up the image. For good reason. I had an idea regarding the trees that go straight up behind May and the stranger, and I couldn't have achieved that as well with the with just the outline. And take moments to put in some negative space when you can. It really helps just to add some aesthetic to what you're working on, and kind of a tangibility to it as well. Just want to smooth out some of these shapes here. So I'm not going to smooth out, but like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to consolidate the silhouette. How come you work at Sketch? I just love it. I just think it's great. Like, it's a very good drawing program. I think just before you came on there, I was just talking, I should probably do a stream in Clip Studio as well, because I use that as well. I've only kind of just realized that all the streams have been in Sketchbook. It is my favorite drawing program by a country mile. I feel like if you can draw traditionally, you can use Sketchbook. You don't have to get into the weeds of learning digital tricks, digital terminology. I think it's all very much a very similar process of picking up your animation disc or your light box and getting to work, you know. And then the brushes are fantastic. Sometimes programs can have a pretty great UI and then drop the ball considerably with the tools, and this is one program that just has not done that. I've been using it for years. I hope it never goes away because I love it, and it's I use it as often as I possibly can. Um, I gave up on Photoshop a while ago. I found it became unreliable, and at the time I was just using it for painting anyway. I'm back using it again now for other stuff. But I think in terms of drawing, this is a great program. I got good at painting in it when I moved away from Photoshop, because Photoshop is where I did all my painting. But since I kind of moved away from it, Sketchbook and Clip Studio have been where it's at for me for painting, and even using four of those programs together, I was able to find my way around digitally manipulating photographs and things when I needed to do that for friends, that kind of stuff. You could never get into Sketchbook, really? Wow. I just think it's so good. It's so... Well, I found it really easy, but it suited me, I guess. Different strokes for different folks. Photoshop feels the best, really? Wow. Yeah, there you go. I mean, this is why lots of folk like drawing with charcoal, and I was doing knife drawing, and I just couldn't get into it. I was into Conte as soon as I could, and I figured that one out. It was never go. I never went back after I figured that one out. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. It suits some people, doesn't suit some others. Okay, I like where this is going. And what I want to do at the top here is something a little different. Instead of just leaning in on making it just black and white. I mean, so I'm going to maybe about there, say. Turn down the opacity. Gonna grab that scratchy brush that I like. I might do a bit of that one as well, but I'm certainly going to use this. Turn it way up. Okay, the eraser tool out again, get the nib brush out again, turn that off, and I'm going to kind of take these trees here out with the eraser tool. You don't get too caught up in the detail on these trees, because it'll only take away from everything in front of it. You can think pretty gesturally and broad with these guys. Again, going freehand, not looking for the ruler tool. I don't even think I've looked for it like once tonight. We really don't need it when you're doing this kind of background. I'd like that to be a bit thinner. There, like that. There's this amazing episode of Samurai Jack, where he has to fight the shinobi, and it's some of the best visual storytelling I've ever seen in my life, and the best use of graphic shapes ever employed in TV. And what it does is the shinobi warrior pretty much takes up full blacks on screen, and because the shinobi warrior is trained in the dark and how to use the dark, turns out that Jack was trained how to use the light, so Jack takes up all the white on screen, and these two have this amazing fight in these weirdly cut out shapes of black and white, as we see lights or white lights kind of cut across the stage, and these beams of wood that they're walking on take up the black space, and as they cross over these colors we can see their outline, and it's incredible, just incredible. And I always kind of think of it when I'm playing with ink, like what can I leave out and still manage to inform everyone what it is I'm trying to do. You've seen it too, Ren? Yeah, it's unreal. Such a good episode. You're right. It's so good. They got so much right with that show. Scott Wills, he was a big point of reference for me on Godfell as well. Just what kind of shapes they can do. There's an episode where Jack is inside the belly of some monster. Like, that was great reference for Godfell too. I guess you're kind of thinking like outside of the norm of just rendering inner parts of the body as red and bloody, that kind of stuff, like, where you can find blues and yellows and oranges, weirdly happy colors. The work those guys have done together has just been amazing. I can't wait for the new season of Primal. That's a bit wrong, isn't it? Let's go back there. There we go. We're doing good on time. I might not finish everything on the stream, but I get most of it done. I might even get all of it done, but we'll see. But I'm gonna go for 15 or so minutes. In that time, I should hopefully finish the background at the very least. But I'd like to go back in now and really play with some blurs on the lightsaber. Oh, really? Nice. If you get in on Primal, let me know. That'd be a great one to get. I believe Mickey worked on season 2, I think. Maybe if you want to nail down that gig, maybe get in touch with him. Paul will sort you out with a sort of contact there, I'd say. Ooh, okay. I'll message me on Instagram or something, and we'll figure that one out. I'm not going to give the details away on the show. He might not like that, and that would be fair. Um, but yeah, I guess that would be a great one to get. So give yourself as much of a chance of getting it as possible. But he's a good mate of Paul's, so he'd be someone I reckon you could easily be put in touch with. He's also one of the best artists I've ever seen. He's just amazing. Nice guy too. By the way, I haven't said it. I meant to say it today. In a few days' time, the new season of Hit Monkey on Disney Plus is coming out. I did to do the character pose pass on that show. I worked on the last 3 or 4 episodes of it, and it's a brilliant show. I enjoyed the first season. I really did, because the comic is based on there's very little material, so they really got to play around with that little bit of material and add to it. And when I got to work on the second season, I only got to work on the last few episodes. There was a whole bunch of characters that were not introduced in the first season, but even in those few episodes I worked on, I really empathized with those characters. So I can't wait. I think it's the 15th of July it comes out, and I can't wait to see how Hitmonkey made those friends, met those people. Really great looking show. I might do a Hitmonkey picture actually. I might do that before I get stuck into the wave of commissions for the stream. That could be a fun one to do. Oops. Getting there. Big numbers again tonight. Like, thank you very much for tuning in. I think a lot of those numbers are coming in via Twitter, which is just amazing to me because I didn't know Twitter had an interest in this kind of material. I guess I wouldn't associate Twitter with video anything, but it really has been the largest, by a country mile, the largest set of viewers for the stream here. So thanks very much. You guys keep showing up. I'll keep showing up too. Thanks for the offer. I'll say the same thing to you as the other folks that come in. If you want, talk to me about promotion and what are we gonna, I don't know if there's any kind of sponsorship or promotion or anything coming in. You can always go and contact me via the website. You'll find my website, or you'll find my email address and everything up there. Oh, no worries, Ryan. Thanks for tuning in. And a bit of chit chat, always appreciated. I don't want that to hit the leaf. There we go. Slow and steady, right? Jesus. That took a few attempts. Okay. Straight up from here. If you're still there, Ren, when do you stream? What days are you on Twitch? Every Monday. All right. What time? 6 to 9. Nice. So, every Monday, 6 to 9, GMT. Nope, 6 to 9 in the evening. And go check out Ren's stuff, guys. He's really good. I'll have to catch replays. That's when I gotta get the kids to bed. Okay, let's turn off the rough. Do a quick save. And back down here, get this guy, start erasing some of these. Ah, no worries, Ryan. Very happy to. Ah, yes. That line is not closed for good reason. There we go. So we're nearly at the 2 hour mark. I'll tidy this up. I'll have to leave my blurs and lightsaber effects to when I'm off air, but I will at least have it really close to finished before I call it a night here. How about this one? Okay, back over here. I'm always locking layers just in case I do something stupid and erase things or affect things that I don't mean to. I want this to be pretty crisp and not have any gray on that. So I go and use my lasso tool and just delete that. A big part of the odds is based in forests. So I've been drawn. Oh. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Ryan. Appreciate that. I'll try to check out your show next week. Thanks again. Did I just do that? I did. Don't want to keep that there. I want that to be pretty tight. I don't want there to be too much laziness around the outlines and that gray background we just did. Okay, and then I'm gonna get this guy, keep that on the eraser, duplicated just in case I do something wrong again, and take away a little bit there. Okay, pretty happy with that. We'll leave that there, and we'll do a quick tidy now. So, thanks again, just in case. There's the border. We're going to open that. Take out our magic wand. What's going on? Oh, it's locked up here. No. We're going to go back into our inks. We're going to delete anything there. We're going to delete anything there. We're going to delete anything. Actually, I've done this the wrong way. Go back up here. Control D, get back in here. There we go. Turn that border off. There we go. We're just over the 2 hours. I'll do a lightsabery blurry stuff later, but there we go. There's our image of Star Wars is the Acolyte. We have May, complete with her throwing darts, and we have the Stranger, Cortosis shield, bracers, and his cool lightsaber. Brilliant. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big numbers again tonight. Really appreciate that. It's really cool. Really motivates me to keep going with this. I will have this and a bunch of other things up on the website. Gonna say Sunday night, ready to go for Monday, I'd say. So if you tune into the newsletter, which you can catch right around here at Bennessy.com, you'll get a discount on anything you buy in the store. There's like an early bird deal or something. And I think if you go to the merch tab for t-shirts and hoodies and that kind of stuff, there's also a deal on that as well. I forget how much that is though, because that's done through like not a third party, but another website. Maybe it is a third party, but they look after all that kind of stuff, and I do believe there's an early bird thing on that. But yeah, delighted with turnout tonight. Thank you so much. I hope you guys like the image. Pretty happy with it. I'm sure I'll turn up the stream now and I'll find several things that I have to change immediately. But there we go. Let me get rid of this so you can see it in its entirety here on screen. Thanks a mil. I will be on us again same time next week, and we'll start into the cover of issue 2 and the odds. And it will be very much a very similar process to this. It'll be 2 streams, more or less tighter pencils maybe than what I had here, and yeah, and you guys get to meet Joe. So on that note, I'll see you later. Thanks a million again, and 9 o'clock Wednesday next week. See you here on the stream. Thanks a million.